on through as we're getting ready to head into game very, very shortly.
All right, first ban's likely going to be the Human Torch, as we discussed before. We also see a lot of focusing on Loki and Luna. One-sided Luna Snow has been the decider of a couple of games so far, but there is a lot of variety in the strategist backline you can try and pick.
Okay, let's see what is going to be the priority target to remove from play. Is it going to be a double Human Torch pool, or are we going to be seeing a very different idea of where their strengths lie? Human Torch is going to be taken out of the way for ground zero, grounding them, and 100 Thieves are going to be very happy that Harvey's going to be able to get his hands on that Loki. Okay,
the Loki question is what strategy you're going to pair it with. Usually you want either the Luna Snow, who's been banned away already by Ground Zero, or maybe a Cloak and Dagger. Double Eternal Bond is not to be underestimated.
Well, Ground Zero now get the opportunity to protect before 100 Thieves can find any further bans. They're going to use it to take themselves one-sided Luna Snow, which now puts a little bit more pressure onto 100 Thieves to remove some of these components of a dive with a Psylocke or a Captain America, and they're going to be removing the cap from play first.
All right, you can tell from the double spinning, the double glowing boxes, this is a simultaneous ban. Loki's going to be taken from one side, so it's going to be asymmetric. Captain America on the other side. I believe it's going to be a protect for Ground Zero now. I would have liked to have seen, instead of Captain America getting banned, maybe the Cloak and Dagger, so you kind of have that double Eternal Bond, but Magneto's going to be protected. This one's for Duep.
Yeah, that is indeed going for Duep. 100 Thieves are going to be able to get their hands off of Emma for Ground Zero. So no Emma Mag Vanguard lineup. They now get that protection, and they're going to be going for that Magneto too, so they're going to have a one-shot potential shutdown as well as protection for that Phoenix, and Ground Zero are going to be targeting out Terra's Wolverine.
All right, Terra's Wolverine's gone, but Terra has been playing a lot of Phoenix recently. And this is going to allow for double Eternal Bond for 100 Thieves. That's a lot of sustainability on the point. And we don't really see many allusions towards triple res comps here, so they are going to be fully available for both teams, but they haven't prioritized them in their protects.
We might see 100 Thieves go for the Loki copy onto the Luna too, so that you can get the 40% damage boost of Fate of Both Worlds to buoy up the damage that your Phoenix or your Magneto can do, as that is going to be one of the things that allows Ground Zero just a little bit more bite when it comes to the power of their bird.
All right. OCE's #1 versus America's #2, our last winners semi, and they are fighting for the unenviable prize, Mox, of going up against Envy in our winners finals. Map #1 is going to be Berlin to T'Challa. The bans are done and the players are raring to go. Let's get into it.
100 Thieves going to be rolling out on something, trying to stop a dive, anticipating a Panther pick potentially from Ground Zero. But no, Ground Zero really want to play off of the Wolverine and Phoenix. The Primal Flame team up is going to be there. So Phoenix Warrior is up for the Wolverine, which means that we get lifesteal on a lot of the damages that have been done. 100 Thieves going to be rolling out the Emma and that Magneto lineup with Delana on the Psylocke to try and keep the pressure up onto the Flyers.
Yeah, not going to be too many players who are particularly scared of the Wolverine as well. There's great sustainability from both TTK and Vinny versus the auspices of the Wolverine. Already a huge exchange of fire. Terra is going to be teleporting away from most of their team, but it seems like the rest of 100 Thieves are more than happy to try and catch up with their carry for now. TTK blasted on back, and some group walls are erected. FMCL wraps down the back, grabs Terra. Oh, there's the rocket pack right into the middle. Escapers might well be off the cards, but they didn't manage to shoot Terra enough while they were in the air. What a little bit of a flub there from Ground Zero. That should have been an easy frag to pick up, as it's going to be 100 Thieves claiming the first point for free as well.
Yeah, Terra is able to utilize that illusion and just get out of dodge. Unfortunately, can't dodge that one. And that is going to be Ground Zero starting to get a couple more players. 100 Thieves going to invest God of Mischief onto all of that support ultimates coming on through, as Maddie's going to come and just stall out Ground Zero, think that they can win this. They try to go for the damage boost to push up Name's ultimate, but it's not going to be enough to find the fix until now.
Oh, that's a big strangling prison though. Catches Harvey in a bad location. TTK's Carbon Crush can do the damage too, but Ground Zero in the end with their... Was that a TP back from Vinny? They're not going to go through that. Already the point has been flipped. That's going to be off the cards. Vinny's actually coming on out of it. Was waiting for a remainder of the team to come on back. Still have to deal kill with Delana in the back. In comes the Phoenix. Delana has to dodge away to stop the Meteor M from impacting Millennia. Not going to be quite so lucky. Harvey with an extra 400 Thieves once again, all out of heals. They're running on borrowed time and borrowed health, but doesn't dissuade Delana. King Bob's already been taken down. Duup's going to be the only one who lives inside of this. A last stand is called by FMCL, and the damage is done. The heals are stolen away. And that's going to be ground zero. Just about holding strong. Terra still exchanging fire.
I mean, 100 Thieves, they want to try and take this a little bit faster. They've got that Phoenix on the point, 2 strategists to make sure that Pocketer, FMCL is going to have to go in, try and chase them off of those spacings. That Ground Zero is still holding onto that point, bouncing their presence with both the Wolverine and the Venom survivability.
I mean, for now, all they need to do is lose slowly, while the remainder of Ground Zero come on back. Lots of damage being done to the Vanguard. Zenstarry sits up top as Duup finds himself bullied off the point temporarily. TTK halfway towards a fully charged beam, and already regeneration domains have been brought on out. Sonic Seduction ready to go for TTK. Looks to grab a Sentience, can't find it. That's a quick answer coming through from the side of Matty. Uses the fate of both worlds to give plenty of sustainability, even when those lives and those mines have been claimed. Vinny and Terra together. The terrible twosome grab themselves a double frag off the back of both the Phoenix Strike and the Meteor M.
Yeah, and Ground Zero are just going to turn the other cheek, except that that combination's too deadly to live. And they're going to reset to come back in with a fast fight. They've got their own Phoenix ultimate. They don't have the Luna to be able to bolster it. Might be a combined of Duup's Meteor M hit though, but that means that Millennia gets a second lease of life when it comes to the Eternal Bond. Harvey too can go for the copy. 100 Thieves has so much sustainability options.
Does Zenstarry take the option of trying to grab Millennia out of their own Eternal Bond? Once the Strangling Prison is available is the question. I believe Harvey's just used their God of Mischief, and so Ground Zero, they might just give away a little bit of a time. Bloody hell, that was clean.
Yeah, I mean, that God of Mischief, I don't believe was used, as Harvey has not actually hit the Eternal Bond yet. Until, yeah, there it is, going on through, aggressively chasing.
Oh, it's a fate of both
and it
worlds.
was a fate of both worlds, so that you can have both the damage and as well as the just ability to
move. No!
What a Meteor M from Duup! Strangling Prison and Meteor M. Dunkmaster is able to find the slam.
Oh, that one goes out to Liger, but you might need more than a crossbred cat to try and get one over on 100 Thieves here. TTK still building up that charge. FMCL has fallen on down. There is going to be time to come on back through here with the portal and make sure they get back before 100 Thieves respawns. It does mean that those respawns are going to be moving in a pretty safe position. Ground Zero already stolen away the point from underneath them, by the way. Delana trying desperately to clutch up through this. Only a couple of players stand within this. FMCL's already taken down Vinny. Damage taken. Sparks are building on the other side. Milani is going to catch himself on the other side of a portal. And actually has been taken over there by FMCL. They're going to be left as a pair, and that might allow for a quick escape of the Cloak and Dagger. 100 Thieves should be able to swap this one around. 100 Thieves invest their ultimates.
Yeah, really good target focus coming in through from FMCL. They know that Terra's utilizing his ultimate. They have to connect onto the Magneto before Vinny can hit Meteor M with that CC immunity to dodge away. 100 Thieves have given themselves a second lease of life, but it costs them a lot of their ultimates to be able to do so. King Bob does have that invis boundary, but Ground Zero need access to the point for it to properly come into play.
All right, Vinny with the Meteor M. Going to be something that needs to be worried about here. If MCL had no passive, no second life, and Terra's more than keen to take it. Zenstarry stands upon the periphery and now can act a lot more freely inside the invisible boundary. And we see that Harvey's already invested those uses of the regeneration domain. And now it's Harvey's turn to use the fate of both worlds, and the Eternal Bond comes through as well. Kimbob's fallen, and now Duup's next to go. 100 Thieves, when the chips are down, are going to be able to clutch on up MCL. Coming back on the last chance, Black Panther, but can't touch the point.
Yeah, Ground Zero, they had to send their Wolverine in just to make sure that overtime hit, and then when the invis boundary comes on through, Harvey gets the perfect copy onto the Cloak and Dagger so he can use that Eternal Bond, dash through the entirety of that invisible boundary, hit through with a Terror Cape too, so that Ground Zero, all of that healing is just cut almost in half to the 28% vulnerability, and they fall 1 by 1. With Vinny still not even needing to utilize the Meteor M, which means a little bit of poke pressure, and Terra will be able to go for the combo once more.
Red Tile looks good on our remix. They're very well themed back there for the 100 Thieves. And now, going to take ourselves over to Warrior Falls. this is an area where we can get a lot of value out of a Jeff. Kimbob hovering it for now, but of course this might just be min-maxing with the speed.
I think it's just because he used his ultimate in the last fight, so this is likely just going to be a min-max to get everyone out of spawn a little bit faster. They do have an Ayavagamoto to try and take advantage of the fact that both Harvey and Melania burned their ultimates. TTK now on that Emma can potentially come on through, rain on the parade of the Doctor Strange with the Carbon Crush.
Terra's already got their ultimate ready as well. Could be combined with Vinny, we've seen it before. And it has been bloody deadly when they have brought it forward. FMCL moving forward. Feral Leap grabs the Magneto. A metallic bulwark onto himself to try and survive. An appeal comes through from the Psylocke, utilizing that dance of the butterflies. Down on top of the shield, it's an easy block for Zin. Starry and Terra not going to be quite so lucky despite the big investment. It's going to be a big crush of the Warrior Falls to try and cut off 100 Thieves from the first point. It's going to be quite the early cap here from the side of Ground Zero. Zin Starry moves towards the back. A double stun onto the back line. The strategists find their souls separated from their bodies and their corporealities are sent back to spawn.
100 Thieves would only have been able to live that if Melania hadn't been caught by that Sonic seduction, but like you said, it's immediately onto the backline. There's no buffer, there's no opportunity for the Eternal Bond to come in through and with the CC immunity save Melania's life in 100 Thieves fight. And now they have to come back in, play to that retake, which means that they have to clear out the Wolverine. Otherwise, they risk going into a last stand where they don't know where it's being played from.
Yeah, you got to check those corners. There's going to need to be a chance to build up some rage as well to maximize the damage from that one. You can see that Nami is making sure that Terra's approach is going to be very well checked. Vinny already taking a bunch of damage on the approach here. There's a final stand somewhere, but FMCL doesn't seem to have delivered any final frags off the back of it. The final hits aren't there, but Nami certainly ready to build up the damage. Takes to the skies, a nice perch from above where they are going to be laying down their talons, and that's going to be very aggressive here from Delano. Sweeps away Jean Grey. The Phoenix has been vanquished. For Ground Zero now, it's all about these last chances to keep this point contested. FMCL has fallen down elsewhere, and there's going to be much less luck from the side of a Doctor Strange.
Yeah, 100 Thieves will take advantage of having the better ultimate economy, get aggressive before Ground Zero can build up their own resources and meet them in the middle on the point to stall out that percentage even further. They will be able to find the flip too, so Ground Zero aren't even going to be committing any of these ultimates to try and stall it a little bit longer, and it's going to be FMCL now swapping off of the Wolverine onto the Psylocke of their own.
Oh, this push is so brutal against Terra's aim as well, building up those sparks so quickly and, of course, spreading them around to all of those other players. Already, though, a lot of space has been given away by 100 Thieves. Maybe trying to bait in Ground Zero to try and catch them on the way forward. The fate of both worlds on the way by the Loki. Attempt to combine all of this damage. A mid-air potentially onto Terra. Yes, there is going to be the final hit coming through from Nami, but two ultimates for one frag might be less than economical. Wrapping around that, the back. Delana finds no one inside their dance of the butterflies, and as they come in together, that's going to be Zen Starry getting the stun here onto Melania, finding it afterwards with the Dark Maelstrom. Releases Dark Energy built on up. Ground Zero have already flipped the point around, so the staggers are just gravy over the top of this as Ground Zero sit in control.
Yeah, it was a worse deal though. It wasn't 2 for 1, it was 3 for 1 as Maddie had burned the Luna ult too to give both the Magneto and the Phoenix that damage boost. It has won them this point though, and now FMCL with the Dance of the Butterflies is going to force 100 Thieves' hands. Melania has to utilize some of these dashes, not just to keep everyone healed up for the Psylocke, but to also get onto the objective because this is final fight territory, and 100 Thieves have to have a body on point, otherwise we go third round.
FMCL already cooking, has forced out the regeneration domain now, maybe trying to go after Terror up on the high ground. Nami seems to have eyes on this already. The Phoenix managed to strike pay dirt and already takes down one of the strategists, kicked off the map. But yeah, there'll be a cloak of levitation to try and drag them back, but all that it is a gift of sentience into the hands of Emma, who digs in her claws and claims the body of Doctor Strange.
It's a fast reset though for Ground Zero. They didn't burn a singular ultimate and they forced 100 Thieves to burn 2 of their own. Harvey is going to have that Loki God of Mischief in a matter of moments, but FMC on the Psylocke can get into position. They don't need to poke, they don't need to contribute damage. The more damage that they do, the closer Harvey gets to having that ultimate. It's a matter of keeping a track of where the Psylocke's going to show up from instead.
An efficient move forward is the name of the game here for the side of Ground Zero, and plenty of ticks up in their armory to try and work with. FMCL claims the high ground. Melania for now just healing away with those light force daggers. You can see all of the damage coming in from the Phoenix already, forcing to move forward. Now it's down to Nami to come on through. A double strike maybe onto TTK. They overwhelm the Emma Frost, and the metallic curtain blocks out the return of the Meteor M from the other side. FMCL can't deliver enough damage, but now up close and personal to these strategists, there's going to be some stuns coming through, yes, onto Harvey, and onto Luna Snow as well. Zen Starry, I've got stars in my eyes as they claim themselves potentially this first fight here. TTK falling first, means a portal comes on back, escapes out of the LOS of most of ground zero, and there's actually a little bit of a body block coming through to make sure there's no re-engage permitted after they kowtow and move back to the spawn.
It's not just stars in the eyes, it's the Eye of Agamotto that Zenstar is able to utilize. Catches onto two key players on 100 Thieves, and they confirm the picks onto them as well. So by the time that Eye is done, Ground Zero just have the better numbers on the point when it turns into the brawl situation and can overwhelm 100 Thieves' presence. Delana is going to be starting with the Dance of the Butterflies. However, Ground Zero are going to be starting a leg up in terms of defensives. They've got both of their strategists, and I spy a Black Panther coming on through with FMCL going to be taking full advantage of all of the flank rotations and very cramped up spaces that 100 Thieves might be trying to hide their backline upon.
Yeah, visiting his sister of Shuri here, T'Challa certainly enjoys the Imperial Institute of Science. One of the prime prowling grounds of the Black Panther in this game, and double strategist ultimately going to be available for GZ as they roll through.
Yeah, I mean, especially against the Loki too, you get so many confirms of Vibranium marks where you're going to be able to get a whole lot of spinning kicks as well. Lots of refreshes and lots of time to build up those ultimates, as we're going to see a Doctor Strange portal. Not yet committed, just used to be scouting right now. 100 Thieves wraparound rotation before there goes into the spear toss. Who's the target of choice? Regeneration domain came out, and it's actually Zenstarry who gets picked instead.
Yeah, instantly grabbed, I think, by a Carbon Crush. Oh, that's going to be Matty investing the ultimate without their Doctor Strange in tow. There's going to be a little bit of a desperate dash here for Ground Zero to move on forward. They're trying to damage boost the Black Panther on the engagement, force out the regeneration domain, which is, yes, a valuable point to have taken away. But Terra now forces out the Black Panther. They've lost Duep as well. There's not really any meat here for Ground Zero to hide behind. They've got to stand and deliver. And when you deliver to Terra, you know that he's got $200 of chicken wings.
Yeah, 100 Thieves going to be able to lay claim to that point first, and that's going to make the Panther a little bit more problematic to be able to run. But this close to Bass Descent, we're likely going to be seeing it continue, at least into this next fight. King Bob's also going to have that invisible boundary, but as we've talked about, if 100 Thieves pressure the Invis to use the ultimate off of the objective, Ground Zero are forced to fight there instead.
All right, having to walk up slowly now, and that means that they can't pay that much attention to the flank where Psylocke is currently hiding out. Delana has themselves the ultimate, but so too the remainder of 100 Thieves. For Ground Zero, they've got to try and force some of these ones out. They need an economic push here. Zenstar is still going to be sticking around on the Doctor Strange. Sentient seized, 100% charge for the Emma Beam and the Sonic Seduction as well. To full disengage coming through from Ground Zero as they try and get themselves out of the range of the Emma. Up to the sky goes the Phoenix Nami, ready to land on down. All in onto the Cloak and Dagger, and 100 Thieves have simply exploded, arrested for their crimes. And Phoenix Wright cries for justice as it's going to be Black Panther chasing down Terra right here up close and personal. Doesn't really have the cooldowns to try and make this one work. A Vibranium Spear goes awry, and so Terra will survive a moment longer.
Oh my goodness, Ground Zero. Again, they time Magneto with Meteor M, Phoenix Ultimate, and also Bass Descent all at the same time, so it has the damage to burst through the Eternal Bond that Melania provided 100 Thieves. Selena tried to turn it around to Dance to the Butterflies, but all that means is that the next ultimate is delayed when it comes through to 100 Thieves' side. Out comes the Venom. Benny going in aggressively. Zensari trying to come through with the Eye of Agamotto, and FMCL has all of the follow-up needed.
A grab of Zensari shut down the ultimate, but still Maddie's keeping everyone sustained here with the fate of both worlds. A quick disengagement for Ground Zero as they wish to play on the point instead. A damage boost given means Vinny can't stand up to the damage, and now it's time for Zensari to roll on forward. Daggers of the next strike paid her as a spinning kick tears through 100 Thieves. Almost 50% here for Ground Zero, and it seems that 6 ults did not serve 100 Thieves well.
Ground Zero is going to have the next wombo combo too. Duep's got another Meteor M. He's going to be holding it, waiting for Name to build up to that Phoenix. There's 100 Thieves having to just pay either an ultimate or a body. Ground Zero not going to be allowing Vinny free passage into the backline this time around, just they have no Eye of Agamotto to peel it.
Almost here with the Eternal Bond. Melania just needs to get out a little bit more generic healing to try and make that one work. If MCL's cooking around the back, a well-placed Vibranium Spear here could be absolute terror for the backline. 2 players marked. That's going to be yet another moving forward. Thinking about escape here into the invisible boundary. And indeed, it's going to be a brand new angle assumed by FMCL. 2 is going to go towards the back. Double stun indeed. Triple coming through. And the follow-ups there from Nami. An unbelievable play from Jean Grey as 100 Thieves, on the face of defeat, are feeling themselves scuppered, scared, and intimidated. Up in the sky, Terra stands T-posing above them, but it's going to be T-pose error. It's just an error itself. 400 HP doesn't last for a second. Fully charged stacks of spark send them cowering down underground. A patty cake exchange of healing, but still Vinny's there to try and turn it around. Duet the Dunkmasters arrive just in time as the Eternal Bond will rescue 100 Thieves from a hole they have found themselves within.
Oh my goodness, Ground Zero, they are starting to lose players. 100 Thieves coming on through with the Strange Portal regroup, but it's cost them so much. Harvey was able to hold on to the God of Mischief, but they parted with the Eternal Bond as well as the Dance of the Butterflies. Ground Zero are going to be waiting a little bit for their own ultimate economy to refresh, however. And so now they're going to be coming on through with a portal, just directly trying to find a pick onto an unsuspecting player from Thieves. FMCL already in position on that high ground to not get scouted.
Marked by Sparklover. It's all going to come down to this fight if it lasts very long, and you know that with Harvey already investing, this one is going to last quite long indeed. Towards the back, Vinny going to move on back to try and get a little bit of healing delivered. That's going to be the fate of both worlds decided right now. Damage boost onto a Trembling before Blast, but elsewhere Zensari's already fallen. Territory's up by the Phoenix making landfall here towards the back. The Vibranium marks need to be avoided outside of the invisible boundary. It's so easy to take him down. TTK, the top tier kid, has made sure that his magic burns the brightest as 100 Thieves, their criminal empire, expands across to the empire of Wakanda. Ground Zero find themselves defeated in the last moment as 100 Thieves claim victory.
Yeah, invisible boundary, the heal per second is just not enough. 165 per second, but in the face of Eye of Agamotto, Feast of the Abyss, Maelstrom of Madness follow-up, and also all of the other members of 100 Thieves target focusing, hyper aware of one specific player before moving on to the next, it's not enough to be able to keep Ground Zero in play, and unfortunately they will end up dropping that first round with 100 Thieves finding the recovery. It looked a little bit rough and dicey at the beginning of the round, especially when that Black Panther was really popping off, but unfortunately for Ground Zero, the amount of ultimates that they had to contribute in some of those fights just to be able to confirm those picks as quickly as they did in the face of the sustain that Loki and Cloak and Dagger as a backline provide really came back to haunt them in terms of ultimate economy.
Yeah, FMCL getting stunned outside of the invisible boundary as well was kind of killer for that Black Panther. Could not survive the double damage from the Dark Maelstrom. So remember, it hits both the soul and the body mocks, which means that you can take up to, what, 240 damage if it hits them both, and it doesn't have damage drop-off, so you're taking that no matter what.
Yeah, that Black Panther might have had 9 lives, but he is not going to be able to live any longer in the face of all of that incoming damage. But still, a very close series, and I think if you really are like looking at Ground Zero as a team, you can't really call them underdogs in this match any further, because they were incredibly strong in all 3 submaps of Burn and T'Challa.
Yeah, definitely putting up a fight here against 100 Thieves, but in the end, Old Reliable won out there. Harvey just being that backline, knowing that if I use my God of Mischief now, we are forcing this fight to be the last fight of the game, because they came, I'm surprised they engaged with their portal. I don't think they were going to be taxed that much on the entry, honestly, and it gave them no chance to recontest when someone fell. Of course, you wouldn't be able to emergency swap over to the Doctor Strange, because Zenstar is already playing it, which is one of the weaknesses of playing Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think it was part of the nerves of playing Invisible Woman, though.
Yeah.
Is the thing, like, the slightest little bit of pressure, and if you do fold and use Invisible Boundary, you're never getting to see any actual value of it, especially when the point percentage is as close as it is. They didn't really know if they would be able to have overtime, and if you have to send the Panther to go for the tap on overtime. FMCL is like the damage dealer of their composition, right? He's the hit confirm, he's the one that finds those picks, those low HP targets. If he's sacrificed on the way in, then they lose a massive chunk of damage.
Yeah, I don't know if Invisible Woman's always the right choice in these cases. Maybe they were trying to use the false physics to mess with Vinny's engagements, which I think worked out fairly well while Maddie was channeling the Fate of Both Worlds, got that quick damage boost.
Not just that, but force physics against the Doctor Strange Eye of Agamotto.
That's right.
Is a very, very strong cooldown indeed. As
didn't
Doctor
work
Strange
in that case.
Yeah, it didn't work in that case. I think maybe they thought the Invisible Boundary would have been enough to just take cover in, but it is not to be. 100 Thieves, they know exactly the parameters of that healing, and they have absolutely no qualms of invading the space to make sure that they find that kill.
Yeah, it was looking good to begin with as well. Terra got picked off by that Phoenix strike coming through from Nami, but I believe it was traded out on the other side. I think Zenstari might have been the first one to fall, and without a reliable shield in the way of that Eye of Agamotto, TTK really saw the openings. And, well, you brought up at the start of our chat here about this matchup, how TTK has been a fantastic Magneto, but also was one of the first real standout Doctor Strange players.
Yeah.
It's crazy when it comes to the regular mechanics like the Daggers of Danak and the Dark Maelstrom.
Yeah, and I mean, Vinny too, on the Venom, not on the Groot, just being able to go in, provide a little bit of pressure onto the back line, force Ground Zero to have to hold a little bit closer than they were comfortable of around some of those chokes to make sure that the Venom didn't get as freely passed, as we can have a look and see these statistics. I mean, Duep on the Magneto, we knew that he would be doing the numbers. In terms of damage, you also have to remember that Meteor M, when it's fully charged up, does a heck of a bunch of damage, and he was finding multiple connections with that ultimate, so I'm not surprised that the numbers are that pushed up.
Wow, Maddie AF sitting on 65k healing on the Luna. That's quite impressive in its own right, but yeah, Duep is so good at delivering that damage. On the other side, Harvey, all reliable, 50k on the Loki. And of course, Terra's sitting there. It was 10 final hits. Not to be outdone, Delana and TTK. Delana's really come into his own as a carry over the course of this LAN. Really has dug 100 Thieves out of some pretty unenviable situations.
Yeah, it is going to be Harvey with the Loki coming away with the MVP, and when you immediately protect a hero, you're expecting them to be the carry of the composition, and Harvey was the carry of the composition coming on through. 31 assists, 27 total KOs, 49,000 heals, as well as an accuracy of 60%, which is incredibly high for a Loki when you remember the amount of shots that you're actually taking.
All right, let's have a look at our replays from Bin into T'Challa. This is going to be quite a stacked deck. Moxie went all the way, I believe, on most of our points.
Yeah, we went all the way, essentially, for a lot of these Telespaceport being that first one that we got to see as Delana comes on through with the Dance of the Butterflies. TTK just coming on through, helping deal some of that damage. This Strangling Prison was absolutely wild into the follow-up Slam Dunk triple. And there's Delana able to win out that duel against the Phoenix, claiming up the high ground position to get a better angle and cut off the backline before helping out in the front.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Delana picking up the Psylocke. Isn't generally the kind of hero that you see your hit scan pick up most of the time.
Yeah.
Usually your off DPS, your flex duelist is going to be the one picking up the Psylocke and playing on those off angles, but Terra's been the one to get the Phoenix in this case rather than Delana, who usually was the Hela player, which is a little bit unconventional, but they have been doing well on their role swap.
Oh, some of these combos were absolutely disgusting. This one too. Eye of Agamotto Phoenix when they're all vulnerable and prone and can't dodge out of it. That one's mean.
That was a great combo as well there without TTK just holding the E, the Dark Maelstrom, to wait for the impact of the Feast of the Abyss, so they all got low and then they could just be one-tapped.
Yeah.
I gotta steal that one. not that I
you
ever,
are a resident Doctor Strange main, yeah.
Not that I ever get to play with another Vanguard.
Yeah, true. You are our solo Vanguard when we queue.
I can dream.
It's a lonely life for a Doctor Strange main.
Isn't it just? I'll stand alone in the front line. The echoes of Dogman in my ear. Mox, snowflake me. Snowflake me, Mox.
As he tries to win the Psylocke 1v1, even when their Psylocke's got an Emma Frost instead.
He'll still win. Dogman's good.
Yeah, but I think moving forward in the series, we're definitely going to be seeing an adaptation in terms of the ban strategies to come on through. As a Ground Zero, like the Panther was really, really strong that we got to see on Intergalactic Council. I definitely think the Magneto is going to be sticking around if Ground Zero have anything to say about it. Maybe 100 Thieves decide that, okay, Duep is popping off a little bit too much, so they remove it from play themselves.
Yeah, I think that might be a good ban, especially since Magneto is a pretty strong ban anyway. Getting rid of how much damage Duep does could be, ooh, a Rako. Okay, this is a little bit of an unconventional pick.
Okay, so Wolverine has to be taken out. Right
yeah,
now.
100. I mean, they banned Terra's Wolverine before. I'm sure that's going to be the case again. If they don't ban it early, there's a world where we could see an early protect on the Wolverine. Yeah,
I mean, we're also maybe going to see a Panther ban.
True.
Because Rako, small spaces, closed up hallways, teleporters too. So Panther has a much easier time being able to sneak into the backlines and find those off-angle flank rotations to catch your backline unawares.
Yeah, like I've been very impressed by FMCL's Black Panther. I feel like there were a couple of fumbles there from GZ that stopped them from really being able to claim that map. But honestly, the talent that 100 Thieves bring to the table is never to be underestimated. There's a reason these guys have been the favorite for so long and why we have so many adoring fans in chat who I'm sure are being very measured and pleasant right now.
Wow, you said that with a straight face.
Yeah. What can I say? I have a resting straight face.
We're going to be getting ready to go into Araco. This is a very fun map where we see a whole host of compositions coming on through. Some teams like Envy like to go for the triple Vanguard, triple Strategist, spawn hold, and the attacking team subsequently have to go for a damage bolstered composition where you're running like triple duelist, potentially even quadra duelist, and you have something like that. Moon Knight, speaking about Moon Knight, we do have to bring him up because Ground Zero have played the Moon Knight before. Do you know what actually surprises me? They didn't take us to Spider Islands.
It is an unconventional pick. Maybe they've seen... obviously, we did see 100 Thieves play Spider Islands yesterday. I believe we did win it against OUG. So maybe they don't think that they've got as much of a chance as bringing out one of the newer maps where, admittedly, an old team like Mutants / 100 Thieves may not have had as much scrub time. Well,
the Lunar Snow has been removed on the side of 100 Thieves, and they're going to be protecting, yet again, the Loki, given the fact that it was not instantly banned. So even if that Panther is coming into play for all the reasons that we listed on Burn into T'Challa, Harvey, I don't think, is going to be sweating all that much.
Yeah, Harvey's going to be sitting pretty. Question is, are they going to allow the Cloak and Dagger to get through the ban phase yet again? Because it does seem like Melania on the Cloak and Dagger alongside Loki is a lot of sustain that's been serving 100 Thieves very well thus far. Lunar Snow, of course, going to be pro game and moved, and only Ground Zero are going to get to play that one.
Yeah, and that's going to be one-sided idle aura going out onto, I would assume it's going to be FMCL on that Black Panther, so that he can be out of his backline's LOS while still receiving support to stay in those spaces as long as he possibly can. Doctor Strange is going to get banned, as well as Emma Frost against Ground Zero. So if they start losing some of those players for a spawn hold, no one's going to be able to teleport back into the team fight. As Wolverine, one of the bans that we said had to be a must grab, is going to come on through for the final ban against 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves much of a Captain America team? I feel like I don't remember standout performances on the Captain America from Vinny and TTK, but I just might not have seen every single 100 Thieves game ever. Terra, right now, seems unperturbed, is just going to be able to sit on the Phoenix and enjoy the long corridors that Araco has to offer.
I'm very surprised that both teams get the Magneto as well through, and we will be seeing that combined with the Phoenix to have even more deadly accuracy of those ultimates, as it's going to be a very potentially interesting Araco where Ground Zero, they definitely have a game plan. It feels like 100 Thieves, it's the reaction check time. Can you react to a Black Panther pick, or like Reddit, are we going to complain that playing against that hero is next to impossible?
That's an upvote from me, Mox. Maddie just looks in through the spawn door and then moves away. Ground Zero going to be holding up nice, close and personal, as is the standard here for Araco. They are going to be playing on the group this time, which makes the Wolverine ban even more valuable.
Yeah, they're on the defense too, so having the group, being able to split the attention of 100 Thieves players as they try and move her from that ramp, could allow them to find some of these picks, as well as provide some additional cover as they try and disengage, because Delana on that Storm with the Goddess boost is something that Ground Zero can't match up to currently.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of damage coming through from both a Phoenix and a fully charged Emma Frost already, because remember, you can build up that charge off of the group walls, and when Emma's at maximum charge, she's winning basically every single duel you throw at her. Already Ground Zero have been forced to disengage once. Terra's going to take up towards the high ground, or at least do some spot checking there to make sure no one's inside. It's just going to be invisible boundary already drawn on up. There's a big disengage coming through there. That's more of what the Storm brings to the table.
I mean, they saw that Vinny was a little bit far forward, went for the Force Physics to nab the Magneto in. Harvey's able to bail the Vanguard out with the Regeneration Domain, and Terra is able to provide suppressing fire to stop Ground Zero from punishing with that Phoenix ultimate. So next seduction is utilized from TDK to make value off of the Eternal Bond coming on through from Melania, and 100 Thieves are just going to keep on moving all the way around that corner.
Where did Maddie go? Great focus fire, even through the Fate of Both Worlds, for damage proving too much from 100 Thieves. And it seems like this is going to be a very swift take of first, unless Ground Zero really can pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Ground Zero, they do have that Groot Strangling Prison to combine with Name's ultimate, but I don't think they're even going to have the opportunity of tapping. Instead, no, it's just going to have to be better shoring up your resources and position on second. We can already see the Groot walls being put on up to make it harder for 100 Thieves to funnel into that hallway.
TTK just going to bounce away, build up towards this charge yet again. 100 Thieves are fairly laissez-faire right now as they allow for Ground Zero to use their resource to try and claim this high ground.
Can Vinny absorb Zenstari's Strangling Prison? It is a projectile, which means it can be eaten by Meteor M, and Terra does have that Phoenix to be able to follow one up. Ground Zero are going to try and hide themselves in. There's the Strangling Prison. Just on the outside is the regeneration domain from Melania, and that's going to mean that the backline goes down.
I think the Harvey got stunned out of their role right there. Maybe from the right click of Nami. Oh, Terra, that felt personal. Directly onto their counterpart, Phoenix versus Phoenix. And well, Terra says that it's a Phoenix diff right now. Rolling forward onto the group. Metallic Bulwark comes on through. And that means there's too much damage as FMCL wraps around the back with the wing shurikens and connects.
It's going to be Psylocke ult for Psylocke ult, but one dances a little bit deadlier than the other, as Delana is going to be ulting into a team who has an invisible boundary, but that is going to allow immediate focus of Vinny's ultimate to try and hit the one-shot and stop it preemptively.
Harvey still has access to regeneration domain though. Is going to be using it to invest, deal with FMCL's investment of the Dance of the Butterflies. Now Duep tracks this one up. Delana, plenty of damage to be done, has already taken out Nami. Duep can't stand up to the blade themselves. Yeah, it might be metal, but thousand-folded steel refuses to cede to the commands of the Omega level mutant. And now Delana is running absolutely rampant in the back. A backline undefended by naught but a Groot. The Flora Colossus can't stand up to this much damage. And 100 Thieves are going to continue to roll forward.
Ground Zero are desynced as well. The Meteor and the Phoenix are a little bit too far apart. Terra and Vinny, in the meantime, perfectly on the beat with each other to have that wombo when Ground Zero come to recontest.
TTK doing so much damage already. That's going to be an Eternal Bond coming on through. Can you avoid the incoming damage of the... Oh, nice Metallic Bulwark just in time coming through from the side of Vinny. Excellent defensive prowess as Matty going to be channeling the fate of both worlds. A quick float away. Meteor M reigns above it all. Where's Vinny going to drop it on down? Not on top of anything right now. Nami's full on down. Delana straight down the backside. And 100 Thieves managed to grab the point in the midst of all this. In the confusion, Ground Zero forgot all about the objective. And that's going to be unforgivable.
Harvey copied Emma Frost.
Oh.
And the Psionic Seduction silence hit onto the players of Ground Zero. That was either a silver lining that occurred from a miscopy, or they were able to actually go for that perfectly and target focus down the players from Ground Zero when they were silenced. But regardless, that fight is going to be continuing on into third as 100 Thieves are pushing up so much more to find all of the stagger picks and prevent Ground Zero from finding their footing. Because if they do, FMCL on that Panther is going to become a problem.
No, the bright side for Ground Zero fans is that Delana is at least punished for such audacious positioning. 100 Thieves though, they still had themselves a Dance of the Butterflies. FMCL really needs to deliver on this bust descent. Maybe it's going to be damage boosted.
I mean, Duep's going to be coming up to that Meteor. They might go for the 3 that we saw previously, but that did haunt them in terms of overall ultimate economy. What's it going to be for Ground Zero? Well, they're going to have to do whatever they want without a Black Panther.
The Metallic Bulwark bursts, and the remainder of 100 Thieves are there to break on through it rather quickly. Invisible boundaries drawn on up, and 100 Thieves, they're just going to call this fight already. They don't want to go too much further forward. Now it's time for a re-engage with this one over. Delana rates around the outside. Oh my goodness, big combination right there. Harvey and Melania both going to fall on down, and Harvey loses out on their ultimate.
I mean, the good news for 100 Thieves is that Melania does have that Eternal Bond. And they don't have to worry about a one-shot, so Zenstari combined with FMCL's ultimate, there should be enough healing to be able to come on through and keep 100 Thieves healthy on through it. As Vinny with that Meteor M is potentially also going to be able to wait for Terra so that 100 Thieves have the bite to finally be able to break the high ground hold that Ground Zero have.
FMCL tickling away in the back, forcing 100 Thieves down into this zone. Delana moves through the portal, and it's time for FMCL to descend with Bast. Harvey falls on down, even while the Eternal Bomb was channeled by Melania. The healing wasn't delivered in time. Nami has control of the high ground. Maddie's falling in the back. Duep trying to chase down the Psylocke, and there's no shield in the world that can stand up to the power of a Phoenix Force. Delana's there with a Sonic Slash at the end as the Butterfly reigns over the God of Metal. King Bob unable to get away from this one, I'm sure, blown up by the sparks of terror, and TTK Sonic powers make sure to put an end to this. And guess what? The Flora Colossus has been moving the entire time. Araco feels the freeing call of nature all around as Duep's Captain America is slain by terror, vanquished for a moment, and so too is the Ground Zero defense. 100 Thieves complete.
Ground Zero were able to pick Harvey, but they didn't manage to nab Melania, so when the Strangling Prison came through, Cloak and Dagger's Eternal Bond dodges out of it, CC immunity, heals everybody up for 250 a second, and 100 Thieves are able to just live with that ultimate going on off and continue gaining a momentum and foothold on the objective itself. Now we're going to be seeing the side swaps come on through, and this is where it's going to be really interesting to see what exactly Ground Zero decide to go with their composition. We saw the Panther come on out to the second half of their Araco defense. It's likely going to be a starter duelist spot when they start on their attack.
Now we have to see exactly why Ground Zero picked this Mac Mox. This is going to be something to prove, because they didn't go to Spider Islands, which seemed like one of their better maps. 100 Thieves won it yesterday as well, but really did seem like Ground Zero were hugely gifted at Spider Islands, and this must have had some particular sauce on it. Maybe it was the Black Panther, but FMCL couldn't quite deliver a carry performance, even if they were a constant harasser of the backline.
Well, there was the anticipated attack, Panther, and if we're anticipating it, I'm sure 100 Thieves are. You can already see them steering as much clear as they can from some of those closer hallways, as well as getting ready to scout out where exactly FMCL is going to be rolling out from. Far right spawn doors coming on through, but TTK on that Amorphrost is going to be a little bit harder for them to be able to break out.
All right, Vinny has to be careful about being a touch too far forward here, but can always back away behind all of that cover. All of those sparks are going to start accumulating the damage. MMCL has been caught by terror on the approach, potentially stunned by the right click. Regeneration domain is used. Nami desperately tries to escape, just about gets out with a sliver of HP, and the remainder of that will be converted into support, into ult charge for strategists.
Well, FMCL tried one attempt of the Panther, and 100 Thieves reacted by immediately dropping Regeneration Domain and getting the pick onto the Panther, so now it's going to be the Wolverine instead. The passive going to be making it a little bit harder and punishing if 100 Thieves immediately go for the investment of the Loki cooldown to be able to live it, as well as having that team up with the Phoenix, so they have a little bit more survivability when he takes some of these fights. Unfortunately, he's not going to be taking one of 100 Thieves players with him, as that Feral grab did not find anything but oxygen. Yeah,
the Primal Flame won't be finding any value either, so no health stolen away. 15-second cooldown. 100 Thieves still go for a disengager. I believe Harvey's already used their God of Mischief, so they're going to be forced to engage off the back of this soon. Oh, was that Harvey off the map? No, they've been able to Dark Force cloak right back up. The Dark Force teleportation works out. Quick grab onto the throat for Carbon. Crush tries to try and get FMCL out of here. Up goes the invisible boundary. They're trying to focus down King Bob in the midst of it, and indeed, it's going to be both the strategists who fall. 100 Thieves, they have such sublime target focus.
Oh, yeah, the Psionic Seduction from TDK just catching on to so many players from Ground Zero as they come out from that invisible boundary. Ground Zero, though, do have the Strangling Prison as well as the Meteor M combined with that Phoenix, so 100 Thieves are going to have to pay very much respect to the ultimates that could come their way. I like that they're actually playing in these really horrible spaces for that Meteor M to be able to find connection.
Yeah, just making it really difficult for Duep to try and get some value out of that ultimate Delana. Looks on from above. FMCL might be the next to fall on. Down has already used their damage reduction. Nami sits above it all. Both of these Phoenixes just staring at each other from across the way already. However, has been a release of the Meteor M, so the timing isn't quite there between Nami and Duep. It went too far. What? Was that a Strangling Prison in the back right there? Zenstari, what were they cooking? I think they were trying to get maybe the Cloak and Dagger, but should have faded away using the right click. A quick Dark teleport away from the danger. And Delaney gets out of there too. A final stand towards the back. FMCL is going to be trying to deliver damage onto the Vanguards, and Vinny's going to be the main target of that one. Balania next to fall on down, and Nami's on the off angle. TTK is going to be right up close and personal, and Nami has to teleport away from the danger. Harvey taken off by a Force Physics push of all things. Great, great elimination there by King Bob. It's a rare one to see what happened to a Loki.
Yeah, and I mean, they get a late pick as well onto Matty on that Luna, but 100 Thieves still have one person behind because they were able to find the pick rather than going down and getting reset. So you can actually see the chase coming on through. Onto Terra. Wait, Terra spawn camped Matty again.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of feeling that's going to be missing. Delana's still back here as well. This is exactly where Psylocke wants to be. Maybe not surrounded by the enemy team, though. Gets a Metallic Bulwark on the disengage and returns to the loving arms of those strategists. King Bob, falling low, has to jump away, bring up the invisible boundary as well. Up to the sky goes the Meteor M, mostly uncharged for now. So instead, just going to give over a little bit of chunk damage towards those Vanguards. But now with all of the healing finished, TTK's turn to strike. Up comes the Ironwood Wall to try and dodge some of the incoming damage. It's going to be a strangling prison towards the back, landing down on top of it. Not too much damage. FMCL coming up rather close with the damage reduction, and now you've got to start stopping the Flora Colossus. It's only slightly away from the goal itself. A meter stands between ground zero and extension of life here on Araco, and indeed they will claim it. 2.5 minutes to go.
Oh, that was a little bit too close for comfort to Melania's Eternal Bond. If 100 Thieves had kept the Vanguard lineup a little bit longer, they would have had that ultimate to stall light, but FMCL with the pick on the Wolverine, the one-sided Wolf, the Ground Zero have been able to get through the ban phase, was absolutely clutch and allows them to come through into second. 100 Thieves, though, now have both of their strategist ultimates to survive into this next engagement and potentially get a copy onto Matty on that Luna, who's going to have to hide away. Otherwise, they risk giving Terra 40% amp on ult.
It would be dangerous. Forces Matty into bad positions. Terra around the back has already found FMCL, just takes to the skies, and well, everyone's leaving Mox. Hopes that they maybe will look in for yet another second, but they're too far away to really take that much damage from it. Terra's ult is gone. Nami's going to have an unmirrored one later on. Elsewhere, it's going to be the Dance of the Butterflies focused in onto FMCL. Delana says, you know what, I'll take a free duel win and leave. But that's 100 Thieves investing. Yeah,
Ground Zero's Vanguards were too far away from the Wolverine to be able to play body block against the Psylocke, and Delana saw an opportunity to remove the last stand with play.
No.
And Duep sees a target gallery in front of him. Strangling Prison combined with Meteor M a second time, and it's just as devastating.
An unbelievable setup there from Zen Starry with the Strangling Prison. The Dunkmaster gets it lane up for him by LeBron himself. Terra on the other side finds Nami. That might be the opening. They need to try and turn this one around, but Ground Zero getting great speed on the Flora Colossus right now. FMCL gets the grab onto the laner. Duep's there with the mid-air intercession, and now how are you going to try and get away from this Magneto? FMCL stands with the last stand, tries to take Melania out of this one, and there's the follow-up. Duep is there for every single frag. The comms are great from Ground Zero right now, but Terra's going to be doing a huge amount of damage. Vinny dunks down on top of it. Maddie AF is overwhelmed. The damage is more than enough to try and cut on through. And while FMCL may still be contributing, Nami's going to find themselves surrounded by Thieves and Bregans as GZ find themselves finished with 45 seconds.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Vinny gets the wall broken for him so that he doesn't have to burn the Meteor M on scenery and brick inlay. And Ground Zero have one more chance of being able to get pushed into Araco. King Bob does have that invisible boundary, but 100 Thieves aren't going to allow them freely into the space to be able to use it. TTK with the Sonic Seduction 2 can just wait for it to come through and then have their ultimate instantly connect onto all within.
King Bob with the invisible boundary. Gonna have to bring this one up to try and avoid the incoming damage of TTK. May decide to go for FMCL instead, but Metallic Bulwark gets a lot of that. Oh, Zen Starry already got Melania. Harvey's down as well. Terra's joining them, and that's gonna be Zen Starry. Once again, stars in his eyes. He looks for an ace. All the heroes may well be eliminated, vanquished at the hands of the Groot, and oh, what a star performance from this Groot.
These Strangling Prisons have been absolutely top-notch when it comes to Zen Starry. Ground Zero have the opportunity to push further into Araco. FMCL also the opportunity to build up that last stand and keep this momentum moving. 100 Thieves going to be trying to hold on to that high ground, but they might be chased off of it. The Vanguard pressure, too much for the defense to bear, and they have to drop to the low instead.
No chance to get a better time back than 100 Thieves, though, who already have 1 minute 30 in the bank. Zen Starry trying to isolate the Vanguards. They move on forward, and TTK knows that is going to be broken down behind them. Yet another missed feral leap from FMCL is going to be forced to undeliver, just about surviving long enough to stay within the Dance of the Butterflies. The lens is going to cancel it towards the back. In comes the Phoenix Force. They want Maddie so bad, but it's a quick dodge away. The Meteor M's not going to be delivered. Vinny ready to drive on through. TTK can't stand up to the damage, but still 100 Thieves believe that this one's winnable, or they can force out something in response for the Eternal Bond. It is going to take at least time away, as that's going to be Harvey, Terra, and Delana combining for multiple frags. TTK is going to come rejoin them.
Yeah, it's just too rough a position for FMCL to try and utilize that last stand. Melania having all of the confidence to invest the Eternal Bond, understanding that the Wolf might not want to commit the ultimate in case it clips into the ceiling. And now 100 Thieves, there's 2 more fights. Ground Zero, they've got the Wombo. These Strangling Prisons have been absolutely stellar stellar from Zensari. Can he do it again?
Zensari looking for the magic. But there's plenty of answers to try and deal with it. The Aegis, the metallic bulwark, a couple of walls in the way for now. Double Vinny, there's a lot to deal with. Here comes Nami from the top. Doesn't have the ideal play right here. That's a big drag onto Vinny. Zensari's there with the follow-up. FMCL sees the target, grabbed on in. Oh, the great intercession there coming through from Terra. Beautiful peel inside the invisible boundary. Yeah, they have to try and disengage. A quick slow means that Nami gets an easy frag off the back of that one. GZ still playing undermanned as FMCL is elsewhere. A last stand will come in towards the tail end of this fight, but GZ, they're in overtime.
Yeah, 100 Thieves, they're going to have the closer respawns. They're also about to have another Eternal Bond up for grabs. Sonic Seduction comes on through from TTK before Ground Zero can find any ultimate economy for a win condition.
FMCL used the ultimate. I didn't see where it was. I'm not sure if they used it for a commute or something. Melania towards the back. An attempt to dunk down on top of the man. He's going to be in major danger. And King Bob's the one to fall in the midst of all of this. But still, the healing's going to be there. Matty dancing for the life of OCE. A three-person stun comes through from Terra. A chase down now onto the back line. A good metallic bulwark coming on through. It's always Vinny who delivers, but Nami's going to be just the same. TTK wraps around the edge, but can the top-tier kid get one over on the Thunder from down under? Moving towards the back. Yes, Zensari, you better believe he's got yet another usage of this ultimate. The Phoenix is going to come and deliver, and the Phoenix Force is rising. Zensari's Thornlash Walls lash their way through 100 Thieves for their crimes. They have earned themselves 1,000 lashings as Ground Zero take themselves to the goal.
Zensari, what a hero! Oh my goodness, he needs a constellation. just give him a constellation so that we can say, yeah, this is the reason why Ground Zero are able to push through Araco. That was absolutely insane. The Strangling Prison, when Ground Zero needed it the most, he was able to build it up. That was actually like a Strangling Prison built in under 30 seconds.
I mean, it's just a monster. An absolute monster, Mox. Not a monster mash, a monster Mox.
That's... I bet if you're 100 Thieves, we're going to be seeing some group counters come into play in a little bit. It might be time to break out the Punisher just to be able to start shredding down some of these walls.
Yeah, that uptime. I mean, the further you get into a fight, the more broken down it becomes, the harder it is to deal with the Thornlash and Ironwood walls, because you're looking elsewhere, you're trying to finish off low HP targets.
Yeah.
Maybe you're down on one of your duelists, so you don't have quite as much output when it comes to the damage. And, you know, Cloak and Dagger are kind of useless at breaking down those walls.
Yeah.
The output is not high enough.
The only thing you can do, there is a very small finesse that you can do with the Cloak and Dagger, where with the Dagger Dome, because it's not relying on LOS, if you lodge it in the group wall, it's actually a 50% split. Half of the dome on one side, half of the dome on the other, so if someone's walled off, they do receive healing, even if the Dagger can't see them.
Take that one to your comp games. Send Mox a thank you note. She streams, you could sub.
Ground Zero are going to be no surprises starting on off with the grid, and I like as well that they're actually really playing into it. One-sided damage boost from a Storm off of that Goddess boost, and Ground Zero up, making ground on Araco's attack.
Oh, multiple stuns coming through from the Phoenix. TTK just trying to play this corner with the charge that is available. In comes a Sentience, going to be seized, rolling forward. That's going to be a lot of space gained by Duap. And it feels like Ground Zero, their Vanguards are absolutely... they're just frying right now. They have everything they want.
I mean, they're going to soon have a Strangling Prison, which is almost building at the same pace as the Cloak and Dagger ultimate, which is just absolutely insane, but goes to show exactly what Zensari is doing. TTK is trying to shut this down immediately. Out goes the Insanity, and it's just going to be Sonic Seduction to stop Ground Zero's momentum.
FMCL going to be grabbed first. Nami's still going to trade out here onto the lane. It takes the off angle here, try and play from the back. Eternal Bond, attempt to kick them away from it. Maybe there could be a little bit of finesse here towards the back. Yeah, you better believe it. It's going to be another Strangling Prison. Still the survivals there from 100 Thieves. They return from this. It's going to be Maddie AF under the onslaught. I believe that they took down the Phoenix just in time, so the healing is going to be there for a moment longer. You've got to look out for this Carbon Crush. A spinning kick into the hole of doom would not be great to see. TTK overwhelming Duet taken down. Overtime starts to tick away as the 100 Thieves combine their powers in a team up of the century and hold Ground Zero.
Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes 38 in the bank coming on through for 100 Thieves. It's not impossible for Ground Zero to achieve, but it's definitely going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it's this one is going to be a legendary hold if it does come through. Admittedly, this is a good area for it. Doctor Strange is still banned, though, which means no portal recontest. I mean, maybe they looked into a future, saw this one coming.
I mean, they are going to be on the defense now, so they can try and blockade themselves in those holes with the Groot walls, but you do risk boxing one person outside of it, as we saw earlier. And 100 Thieves on the attack, they can start off in a composition which they can use to just gain immediate momentum and then swap off of it, because 2 minutes 38 seconds on the bank, it's not like you're down to like 30 seconds and it's just, we have to commit to a composition that we're going to be starting and finishing with.
Absolutely. And also, with all of those walls to box you in, does mean TTK gets a lot of free charge on that primary fire. And when you reach 100 on Emma, that's when the real pain begins, especially for those Vanguards with the easy tracking. And if you can get in range of one of those strategists, they're not going to stand up for 2 seconds.
Well, speaking about range is going to be something that 100 Thieves have to watch out for, because FMCL is not on the Black Panther, he's on that Winter Soldier. So if someone gets grabbed out of 100 Thieves team, they're going to be deposited behind a Groot wall and very quickly sent back to spawn.
Terra already taking quite a bit of damage here, as Duet just going to be standing in the way before Colossus. Don't want to give away anything here for free, but Terra's just going to be absolutely farming on this off angle. Takes quite an audacious one here, going after Zenstari. Ironwood Wall is dragged on up, and look at this. It's all the charge, all the time. Terra taken down. Rottersterd strikes true from the hands of FMCL. Haven't seen a huge amount of his Winter Soldier yet, but boy, am I enthused.
And I mean, Ground Zero will be able to hold. 20 seconds left, now shaved down. 100 Thieves going to be starting to build up some of their ultimates. Delena Watch is going for the Storm for that Goddess boost. Try and push Ground Zero out of this corner that they've been able to hold into. But Vinny goes down. Ground Zero have still been able to just sustain themselves in this space. And 100 Thieves might have to burn an ultimate to push them out of it.
Yeah, Vinny walked out a touch too far there, just trying to get control of the objective. And indeed, it's going to be, once again, 100 Thieves trying to make a play for that. Terra getting up close and personal. Might well have a couple of animation cancels in the back pocket as TTK just make sure that Zenstari has to give away this angle.
Objective's moving, though. They're going to have to drop sometime.
They gotta drop into TTK potentially already. Maddie AF, that's gonna be a strangling prison, grabs in multiple players. Up comes the regeneration domain, and that means that follow-up is gonna be forthcoming here for the side of Ground Zero. Taking to the sky is Terra. All that damage from before now going to be rewarded. FMCL's taken on down. Maddie needs a rescue, but the only salvation that's gonna be coming is gonna be at the hands of the blade of Delena, cutting down the tree. It's a chainsaw of sonic power. The Phoenix can barely even touch the ground in time, and Nami surrounded by villains. The Flora Colossus reaches the goal, and Ground Zero's choice of Arako is stolen away by 100 Thieves.
Well, it lasted 1 minute 30, but unfortunately just 100 Thieves being able to lay stake to that objective so that it continued to move, which then forced everyone on the side of Ground Zero out of the box that they just put themselves into even before 100 Thieves tried to invade it a further time, because that Winter Soldier Groot combination was popping off at the beginning. But unfortunately, without the Doctor Strange recontest for that portal play, every single time they started losing some of those players and that space, it was just map over.
Just an old classic, Mox, brought back into the modern day, but, you know, 100 Thieves, they've played these games before. They were at the forefront of the meta when we saw Terra be one of the premier Winter Soldiers in the world. Sparker on the other side for Virtus Pro in times long ago that only the old heads will remember.
Yeah, and I mean, Vinny on the Groot as well, so they know the bread and butter positions of where teams with Groots like to play, the timings of the Bionic Hook lined up with the further isolation of those Groot walls coming in. And you even got to see as well, like the way the angles that Terra was taking on that Phoenix, trying to find the off angle, trying to make sure that if a Groot wall came through, he was still in a space where he would be able to see players rather than just wooden wall in front of him.
Yeah. Some great positioning, heads-up play, and threat assessment coming through as well. And we saw Vinny actually deliver a bunch of very important metallic bulwarks. I feel like the bubble usage from his Magneto has been pretty sublime, even if he did feed once towards the end there to try and get that card move.
I mean, Terra too, coming on through with that Phoenix ult as well, just being able to break that back corner that everyone from Ground Zero were going to be trying to stabilize themselves around to look for that regroup potential, since, as we talked about, they didn't have the Doctor Strange to be able to portal everybody back into play. They had to give up the ground around, hope that they wouldn't get chased into, restabilize, wait for the cooldowns, maybe build an ultimate, and then come back with one of their own. But they're just not given the opportunity because Terra comes through a little bit too fast for them to handle.
I feel like Maddie used the Fate of Both Worlds quite a bit earlier than they had to. Like, if they were going to have one fight there anyway, I think they could have waited out the Sonic seduction.
Yeah, I think, like, again, it's just like that voice in the back of your head that's like, if we lose someone early, they're out of the fight permanently, they don't get the opportunity to come in with the Doctor Strange portal. So you're going to be a little bit more preemptive with your strategist ultimates rather than hope that maybe your players can live, see that they're going to fall down, and have immediately just that, oh, hindsight 2020, I should have used my ultimate sooner.
Yeah, I mean, like, we saw that happen to Nero, one of your path back then. Maybe it is better to just use the ultimate. I'm looking at this with Captain Hindsight, you know, that's my superpower.
Well, they were sort of put into between a rock and a hard place, though, because of the amount of time that 100 Thieves had, because if he does use that ultimate, then 100 Thieves could potentially just disengage.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate's done, you have to push for more because you're trying to get more value, and then 100 Thieves just wait for it to be over and re-engage with the better ultimate economy. So it's a very rough position when you have so little time and so little distance that you're able to pick up on your round and your opponent's coming in with so much more. Yeah,
maybe Maddie's thinking in like the macro sense as well. Like there's 1 minute 30 left, I could definitely get another Lunar roll in that time if we're going to go through multiple rounds here. And since they had Zen Starry's usage of the Strangling Prison as well, I thought maybe if we make a quick engage here when they're not expecting it, damage boost on the Strangling Prison.
That would have been huge,
yeah, unfortunately they just didn't take down the regeneration domain in time. Harvey got a lot of value out of that. Saved essentially the entire push.
I mean, they protected Harvey's Loki. Every single time 100 Thieves have played Ground Zero today, they have immediately saved that Loki. And we can see why Harvey's Loki has been clutch for so many situations. And I think like the Strangling Prisons have been really, really good when the regeneration domains have already been up so that he can nab people out of them. But if the regeneration domain hasn't been forced before the Strangling Prison comes through, it's another story entirely.
Yeah, it's a very different ultimate when it's not in the midst of these fights, but just at the beginning before Harvey's really faced any real pressure. So have a quick look at our stats here as 100 Thieves stand 2-0 on match point.
Oh, my damage blocked.
Oh! Oh! Oh, but that one's going on Reddit.
Yeah, I think that might be the highest amount of damage blocked I've ever seen from a Vanguard in one singular game.
I think I've seen one higher. Shout out Lemon Kiwi. She does play a big Groot. I think I've seen her take 110. This is the highest I've ever seen in a competitive Rivals game.
Yes. I mean, altogether too, because Duep also blocked 75,000.
That is actually quite a bit of damage, but you know how they block that much damage? By going up against players like Terra with the MVP 53.6k off the back of the Phoenix. And you know what, 24 final hits, nothing to sniff at. The Terra fan club are feasting today.
50 total KOs.
Yeah, and half of them being final hits. Bro's cooking.
Bro is indeed cooking. I mean, what can this guy not play? Because it feels like every single time I look at Terra, he's picked up another hero and he's just become one of the best at them overnight.
From what I've heard, Psylocke.
But that's okay, they have Delena for that.
That's true, they do have Delena, who's popping off on the Psylocke as well. 4 assists as well, so in my opinion, better than Speedily in every way. 63% accuracy is also kind of crazy, but that kind of comes with the territory of going up against the group.
I hope that we get to see the Terra versus Speedily deal. I think that will be a very fun one to get to spectate, as we can have a look and see all of our wonderful replays. I mean, there's going to be so many Strangling Prisons included in these highlights, and also so many Phoenix ult combinations. There's the Black Panther that we talked about, FMCL just ripping on through the entire team, getting reset after reset after reset. So many, you would think he's playing Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it also came alongside a C9. We will not be touching the card today. Doesn't matter how it's looking. Delane being able to escape that invisible boundary as well. Look at the target focus here. It's absolutely disgusting what 100 Thieves can do with the clarity of their calls.
Yeah, all this. Strangling Prison combined with Meteor, like you said, that is just the ideal layup. Ground Zero's Vanguard line, the synergy that these two have is absolutely insane.
I mean, it comes with having had these Vanguards for as long as you have had together. Vinny and TTK essentially have been a team for as long as, I think they played in previous esports titles together on console.
Yeah.
And then transition together to PC with the remainder of Mutants in order to form a team.
Mutants have been together for a very, very long time, showing you just like the power of synergy. It was why I think they had a lead on a lot of other teams, because back then it was essentially a two-horse race between Mutants and Nightmare in NA, and both of those teams had been playing together a very long time.
Yeah, like they've I think that Sentinels / Nightmare have gone through more roster permutations. For 100 Thieves, it's mostly been additions.
Yes.
Like Melania being added to the roster, and I think that's been a good addition. Melania's been doing very well on the Cloak and Dagger so far, being a great supportive partner for Harvey.
Yeah, and I think as well, like having that experience, being able to give the team a lot of information. I think this is something else that sort of gets overlooked a little bit when we're looking at Sentinels. Having essentially a coach in your roster means that if something starts going wrong, you immediately have that analytical mind being able to look at it and so like, okay, maybe we should be doing this instead, as opposed to some of these other teams where the only time that they get to talk to their coach is in the ban phase.
That's true. I mean, not only do they have a coach on their roster, they have a player for their coach. Because Hamibg is a professional player in his own right, formerly from Envy. So there's a lot of depth to this roster. I just missed what the map was.
Central Park.
Thank you. Central Park is going to be the map. I was too busy yapping. Yaposaurus Rex over here. My tiny arms hiding the monitor.
Map, did someone say?
Central Park. This one is once again the pick of Ground Zero.
Very good group map.
Oh, it is. Very good group map, which may demand another ban of the Wolverine, knowing what Terra can do.
So is it going to then be a pivot into the Wolverine save, do you think,
Ooh.
coming on through from 100 Thieves?
Could be. I mean, we're yet to see.
Then again,
we're
Terra
yet to
on
see
the
any
Phoenix.
consequences for
Yeah.
Harvey's Loki being saved.
I feel like if you go for the Terror onto the Wolverine, you give up the Phoenix wombo with the Magneto, which is just proving so immensely strong, as it can still find those picks even through strategist ultimates, as opposed to Wolverine, who finds those picks literally through strategist ultimates because he takes you through your strategist ultimate to be able to find the elimination.
You know what else messes with a Loki that we've seen before? We've seen a little bit of Moon Knight.
Harry,
I will manifest the avatar
me?
of Khonshu. I will manifest him here and now.
Are you advocating for a Moon Knight?
I will turn this onk around.
We need a personality count on Isaac. Does he have 4 now instead of 3?
That's 4v1 when we get in a duel. All right, standard bans once again. The Human Torch going to be taken away. Lunar Snow is going to be exactly the same here for Ground Zero, who may well go for a Protect. We have been getting a lot of value.
One-sided. Yeah, one-sided torch. That's going to be an invis ban.
Yep.
Yeah, that has
instantly.
to be an invis ban. One of the only times that you would prefer having an invis woman on your team in opposed to a Cloak and Dagger is when you're running that Human Torch so you can get your team up. As 100 Thieves going to be banning out the Loki, which I'm sure Ground Zero are going to be doing just the same in a matter of moments, given the fact that 100 Thieves has finally moved away from protecting Harvey's Loki, and indeed, blink and you'll miss it, there he's gone.
Yeah, we are not going to allow Harvey to have exactly what he wants to play here. However, this is going to mean Cloak and Dagger, maybe Ultron Jeff? Cloak and Dagger Rocket? I don't know.
I was going to say,
be
I don't think we're exactly Jeff believers in these two teams. This is neither Envy
not many
nor
Jeff
Rad.
merchants.
As there goes the Wolverine. This time 100 Thieves are going to be banning it and then saving themselves the Ultron. Now, does that force Ground Zero into having to ban out the Mantis?
Oh, no, going to be the man of a Cloak and Dagger here. Meaning that it's going to be a trio of tertiary healers for strategists. Maybe a Rice Comp with an Ultron.
Well, they've got the Torch, so the Ultron's going to be there to pocket Torch.
Yeah, maybe drop the Star-Lord.
We have seen some teams, actually, one of the major complaints that a lot of teams had with Rez was that there wasn't enough damage. Sometimes, since you were only rolling solo duelist Star-Lord, since you had to run free strategist. So some teams actually, there was a week or so where teams actually tried to swap out and insert Human Torch over Peter Quill when it came to that composition. Didn't really stick around, but it did do an awful lot of damage and had, well, a lot of burst potential too.
All right, 2-0 now. 100 Thieves on match point. Mox here in our winners semi. The unenviable task of going up against envious relies as the reward if only they can complete Central Park.
Yes. Something we should mention, though, is that this is upper bracket, so whoever falls in battle here will find themselves revived, even without an Adam Warlock, when it comes tomorrow to that lower bracket run. As 100 Thieves on the attack are going to be taking, well, you know what? You called it, Harry. Harvey's on the Jeff.
Well, we haven't really seen this before. Harvey is, maybe they've seen it a little bit in North America, but it was mostly Envy who were picking up with Jeff previously. Zenstari playing from the back with the Venom. Big engagement into the back. You better believe the Tendrils, the Symbiote Shenanigans are brought up here by 100 Thieves to try and deal with some of this damage that's coming in. An unfortunate reload there from Nami as they attempt to take Terra out of the sky, but there's going to be that constant pocket coming through from the Ultron drone as they fly low to share out the healing with the remainder of the team.
Yeah, Ground Zero unfortunately not going to be able to hold 100 Thieves out of the space for long. Vinny on that Venom dives in and gets instantly hit by the Absolute Zero coming on through from the Luna, but has still been able to create the space for the rest of his team to move on forward, and there's just so much damage that Ground Zero can't keep themselves through.
Yeah, that was a very clean take. Duap is, of course, going to be able to TP back.
Yeah, Duap's going to get the TP, but Delena's already got the ultimate. Ground Zero don't have one of their own. Nami's actually going to go over to the Starlord for the items and also to try and win out that duel, but instantly the Rage of Ultron is there. And Ground Zero, well, FMCL was the only one with an ultimate, and they're immediately picked.
All right, it's Jeff has been declared. Who dares to show themselves here? Oh, that's going to be... Oh, no one grabbed. Maybe a good right click coming through, at least CC immunity from the Luna. Duap's already grabbed Harvey there, who was stunned after having missed everybody. TTK forced to engage here. FMCL doesn't get too much off the back of their own ultimate. Duap's going to move on forward, almost grabbed straight away. It was a little bit messier from 100 Thieves than we were expecting, but Ground Zero is still taken off the point.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bait ultimate coming on through from Harvey. Absolutely perfectly done. Forces the Luna's one way of framing out of the Itch Jeff being that Fate of Both Worlds, which means that they just wait it out. 12 seconds, and then they come back in with their ultimate, still having all of the numbers as well as that Mantis one-sided damage boost to be able to win out the fight. And now they've already been able to crest around that first corner. Terra's in position, spamming Ground Zero, and creating even more space for that convoy to keep on moving.
Oh, instant sedation there onto Zenstari, up in the sky. Nami laying down the damage. Question is, can they find the targets? Harvey and Delana both down. A huge amount of healing is going to be missing, and if Mantis remains in those life spores, can't stand up to the concentrated fire of 6 angry Oceanians as Namor joins them, and that's going to be Ground Zero holding.
Galactic Legend always, it feels like, manages to find that human torch, and it comes at an absolute perfect opportunity because Terra had Supernova. King Bob's going to have the invisible boundary to be able to live it, but Delana might just go with a Rage of Ultron and try and force it early. Supernova comes out first, and the Invis goes down before the boundary can even be built.
How did Terra already get 2? FMCL catches him. Catch the tornado in midair. Melania is there for the cleanup. I believe that Melania is a bit of a flex, plays a good amount of dueler, so obviously it's well suited to Mantis.
Ground Zero just didn't keep the torch in check, even though they had full control of that space. Terra was allowed to get away with far too much. At least they're going to have the invisible boundary for this next fight. The problem is if they use it, Harvey's going to get a platform for the It's Jeff targeting.
All right, in comes the damage from the Rage of Ultron, forces out the invisible boundary in a place that was not really ideal to contest the objective. So it's going to keep rolling forward in favor of 100 Thieves here. Harvey's still sitting on It's Jeff.
Yeah, they don't even need to use it. It's so far off of the objective. Harvey's going to be able to pick FMCL 2. Now comes the It's Jeff. Meteor Arm is going to be used to avoid it, and it's instantly struck onto the Shark.
Yep, flattened into a twisted fin salad, unfortunately. Out comes the Sonic Seduction from the side of TTK. Maddie overwhelmed. Can't pop the ultimate, of course. It's going to be suppressed by the Emma Frost. A missed Carbon Crush up into the air, but all it does is make a little bit of space here for Terra to try and work with. Duap's going to be overwhelmed as the remainder of Ground Zero are washed upon by the tide of Thieves. And Zenstari does have themselves an ult, but doesn't really have the HP to try and make this one work. Already uses this, makes a bit of time for Maddie to come on forth with the Pentagram of Ferala. It's only going to be a single healer behind them. The strategist going to be rolling on through Zenstari. Oh no, he's ended up so far away. Oh, the tilt of the roof has managed to banjax him in this case, and all it has done is fed them over to 100 Thieves. A full completion of second as we move to third.
And they've still got the Supernova too to keep up this momentum moving on forward. Ground Zero are going to have to try and find a singular fight. If they manage to find a fight win, that 3-minute can be diminished down to almost an overtime. But they need to just stop the momentum right here, right now. And first of all, they have to survive the Supernova.
of a Supernova's proven deadly so far when Terra's been able to use it. Delana up in the air as well, building up towards that Rage of Ultron, uses the Imperative Fireball to give some extra cushion over to the Venom as they make their engagement. King Bob under so much pressure towards the back over here. Patty Cake exchanged, the healers going after each other. FMCL finally gets Terra off the case, and this might be Ground Zero with a touch of, oh no, a touch of a little bit of stability. TTK, just make sure their disengage is good.
Yeah, Ground Zero fighting fire with fire. Triple strategist lines coming through from them. Rage of Ultron has been built too to be able to match wits with Delana's. As Harvey with the Itch Jab has an environmental edge so tantalizingly close, but Duap with that Meteor M is going to be a constant thought in the back of the head that they have that to counter it. The sedation is there, and Nami comes on through with a huge Galactic Legend already catching Terra. 100 Thieves are going to try and just disengage it. They've only lost one. They think it's still recoverable.
Yeah, with 5 ultimates, it might well be as well. A couple of spores given out already. Terra coming in the back, the last player to return to the fray. TTK now rolling on forward, and that's going to be a lot of damage done forward. Oh, that's a very aggressive push here from Nami. Surely it's going to be punished. A quick stellar shift and eye for him to avoid the incoming damage. Meteor M doesn't grab too much here as it's Jeff is declared once again. The allies spit, and that's going to be the Invisible Woman sent down into the briny depths below. Duap claimed elsewhere by the psychic sentience being seized. Delana floats above it all. It's a great view for Delana as they lay down the drone, lay down the healing, and lay down the damage. Maddie can't stand up to all this. Terra finds him with a hot spot underneath. Nami next to go on down after claiming one for themselves, and Zen Starry just going to fight against the world.
Ground Zero do have that invisible boundary, but 100 Thieves with the Feast of the Abyss, as well as that Mantis damage boost, can still find a pick potentially through it. TTK moving on forward to trying to keep up the charge with the Emma, build up the Sonic Seduction too to put even more pressure on where this invisible boundary will be able to find value.
Delana playing the safe position for now. No one wants to move through that portcullis into the Church of Dracula. Nami already taken down by flames on the floor of all things. The invisible boundary will keep King Bob safe for now, but the sake of people start to get mind controlled by TTK, they're going to be in desperate trouble. FMCL plays within this for a moment. Maddie AF burned to a crisp. The permafrost of lunar snow is finally thawed out by the skills of Terra. Zen Starry up against 6. For Symbiotic Resilience, not enough to try and deal with it. Delana finds the final hits, and Ultron, his rage is too strong to stand up to.
100 Thieves looking so much stronger. Some of the other maps, some of the other rounds, it was looking a little bit more back and forth, but 100 Thieves very much found their footing. The momentum with the Human Torch being able to push their vanguards forward and just claim up the space so that Ground Zero don't get a good angle to keep a check on Terra and try and shred through the very fragile healing that is an Ultron pocket.
The Ultron pocket is it goes from very mediocre with the drone to very intense with the Rage of Ultron, very fast.
Yeah.
Players can be practically invincible if you've got the auspices of an Ultron.
I mean, that Rage of Ultron, it's so speedy in terms of building up as well. 100 Thieves getting one-sided Mantis too, so that they have just so much tempo that they can remove. There's Ground Zero, like, they had the opportunity, but they just didn't really want to play into the Mantis inspiration boost gameplay with that Ultron either, as having that Luna with the idle aura was just too tantalizing a prospect to put on your Star-Lord.
Yeah, just trying to keep the Star-Lord up. Nami did manage to get some stuff down on second, but it felt like 100 Thieves were generally designing their engagements incredibly well. Finishing with 46 seconds is a very winnable position for 100 Thieves who are looking for that 3-0. Yeah,
Ground Zero too. Against Flyer composition, you can't really play the Groot, which means that Zen Starry's not really getting to play the thing that we saw the hyper carry be on the previous round of Araka, which was so much closer in comparison. Nami is going to just be flipping on out with that Stellar Shift to get a read of 100 Thieves composition before we swap over to something else potentially, but no, the Star-Lord will be sticking around a little bit longer as 100 Thieves pushed all the way up, getting to utilize just the rooftop to give Terra and Delana a little bit of terrain to hide behind.
Uh-oh. Well, FMCL was needing a lot of resources to try and survive here, which is quite not ideal for your rollout. I have to use both the Guardian Shield and the Bulwark of the Magneto to just try and keep your Ultron up in spawn. We'll have to see what has happened here to warrant a technical pause.
Yeah, some would say that the spawn doors are the best strategist in the game.
They are.
Unless it's the enemy spawn doors, in which case, if you go through them, you're picked immediately. As
Jeff has made us all more than aware.
Oh yeah, when you're pushing Symbiotic Surface, you get to third, there's a defensive Jeff. Everyone's fighting on the very, very edges of that finish line. You hear Nami, Nami! And then all of a sudden, find yourself just getting nabbed into the spawn doors.
That is, I definitely have not slammed my desk after that has happened. I'm sorry, my
teams have
desk.
tried to do it in pro play, by the way. Failed, but they've tried.
Well, you see that small fin of Jeff is it's a lot more difficult for you and I to hit mocks than it is for players of this caliber. They don't care about the size of a hitbox. Generally, they are going to be connecting with it. Looks like one of the referees is hovering over ground zero at the moment, so they are likely the ones who have called for the pause on 100 Thieves side. We're a little bit chill. Terra showing off his catching skills. He's going to catch this. And it's gone. Catch this L, I guess.
1, 2, 3. We're not going to go past 3.
Nah, that's all he's got in him. All he needs is the 3-0, you know.
I mean, yeah, they are very, very close to finishing this series. We'll have to wait and see whether or not they will be able to continue in that upper bracket, or if the reverse sweep will be found by Ground Zero, as I believe we're getting ready to go back into our game.
Okay. On the FMCL cam now, it's been given a huge amount of resources to try and make this one work. Delina forced to use their Imperative Firewall to defend themselves from the element guns of Nami.
Let's see 100 Thieves as Vinny falling incredibly low. Terra also under so much pressure. The fire really directed to the Torch's direction. The Thieves with the composition have the means of catching Terra's health bar and buoying it right back up to full.
The Joyful Splash certainly doing some work in the air at the moment. It does get both the healing and the damage. And Starry tried to float away with a Cloak of Levitation, but Terra's having none of it. And now FMCL's next up on the docket. Bring me another, says Terra. And indeed there is going to be another to try and play with. Double Stellar Shift invested. At range there's going to be a Guardian Shield interposed between the Human Torch and Star-Lord.
100 Thieves are so close to the spawn as well that Ground Zero can't really risk going for a portal play off of Zen. Starry's Doctor Strange. FMCL does have the Rage of Ultron, however, with that pick, Delena's been able to build up one to mirror it. And it is going to be both the Echo Chamber of the Ultrons coming on through. Who gets more value? Normally it's the side that has a Mantis damage boost.
All right, the Supernova though. This may be cause for alarm. Damage done. FMCL finally managed to make their way through the crack into the loving arms of Maddie AF. But gather around the Luna, and you're just a sacrifice to Harvey. Likely going to go off the side with this one due to the nature of the Flyer and the Invisible Woman. Everyone is down, and Terra still gets a frag towards the end of it.
Yeah, they might be able to find... Nah, he's not going to commit to overextended against that Magneto, given the fact that Ground Zero's respawns are going to be right there. The reinforcements behind the Magneto already, but Harvey on that Jeff with the speed bubbles is going to be back into the fight too. As we can see, that Torch is floating around trying to keep Ground Zero's attention as they decide to just ignore it and go to the point instead.
Oh, FMCL in danger again. A hot drop onto them. Vinny manages to eat them on up with a Feast of the Abyss and then just disengages. The Inspiration can make that into a one-tap. Delena caught in the air there by a Dark Maelstrom, released from Zen Starry. Still, it seems like 100 Thieves are undeterred by the loss of one of their vanguards. Rolling forward, flame clusters impact into the midst of Ground Zero, and Terra takes an aggressive angle to try and punish FMCL for the audacity of existing in the air.
He's almost got another Supernova too. Harvey right now just providing suppressing fire onto the Flyers while keeping Terra up, but finally he falls. The Galactic Legend gets the torch low enough for Nami to be able to capitalize, and this should be when Ground Zero finally get to move forward.
Oh, frame perfect Symbiotic Resilience coming through from Vinny there. Unfortunately, going to be slightly more than that to try and survive against the Rage of Ultron proffered by FMCL. And now it's going to be time to strike on back here for Delena. Wants to use the accuracy. Oh, the rebuilding of the rebuilding of this could be a little bit less than ideal for the value of that ultimate. Harvey falls on the other side, and Starry trades it out elsewhere. Damage boost proffered here by Matty as Nami moves in towards that Mantis. A sedation is given over. Quite a little trick shot coming through there from the side of Melania, and towards the back, King Bob's going to be in desperate trouble. You can't disengage. It's just more flame tornadoes there as Duep's found out the hard way. Flame broiled. There's a beautiful sear on the outside. I'll take my Magneto rare, thanks.
And Terra gets the well done as Duep was a little bit too far away from Meteor M. They've got one more good push. Eye of Agamotto combined with Meteor M could be absolutely massive. We saw them do it on Burnin, but 100 Thieves are going to be expecting it for sure. Portal's going to come out all the way behind, but they turn. They know where the Strange is, and TTK is going to be looking for that Eye of Agamotto hungrily.
Vinny tracks himself through the portal. For a moment, Terra with the hot drop into the back, and that's going to be 2 members sent back to the Barbie. 100 Thieves, they have their winners finals in their sights. All they need to do is take out the last few Oceanians. And when Terra says to burn, all you can do is turn to cinders before his gaze. 100 Thieves steal away the series.
You know what? I'm seeing a little bit of a correlation here, Harry.
Yeah.
When one-sided Human Torch makes it through the pick bans, the team with the torch tends to win.
Ain't that something? I mean, every single team we interviewed before this told us that's the case.
Yeah.
And yet it keeps happening.
I mean, Envy even did a whole interview where they were like, yeah, they let us get torch one-sided twice and speedily just play
Wins
the game.
He just gets to play the game, he gets to win the game. Sometimes it goes that way. Unfortunately for Oceania's #1 seed, it's going to be the lower bracket. Their run is not over yet, but it only gets more difficult from here as their second chance is about to be the only chance they have.
Yeah, I mean, Terror on the Human Torch with that amount of pocket was just brutal. The fact that 100 Thieves as well took full advantage of the layout of Central Park, where they basically just that first initial building, which is so funny because we haven't really seen teams aggressively hold that far up. Normally it's around the first corner. Normally there's a little bit of exchange of poke fire coming on through. The Flyers try to win out their duels. The defenders then pull back around the natural cover that they have and try and force the attackers to overextend into their space around that corner that really leads on to the point itself. It's never really been a touch the spawn doors challenge kind of map the way that Spider Islands has been in the past, but this feels like the new way to play Central Park, and with a Human Torch pocket, it's absolutely brutal in terms of burning out your time back.
It's criminally broken, really. We've only really seen analogs of this from Rad so far, and it seems like Envy, Rad, and 100 Thieves probably all play this. Envy, I think, have been a little bit more reticent in terms of their disengagement angles, and I think that's to build safety for Nero and Month in the back as well, so that they can play in those alcoves.
Yeah, because something to note as well for like in terms of min-maxing, the Spider Islands hold the building that the defenders like to hold around. That's breakable. That's destructible, right? But on Central Park, that initial little shed of cover that you have to walk through, that you can't actually break that.
Yeah.
Which means that cover is up there permanently. So it's not like a shield where you can break it with damage points or a Magneto's curtain where you can just track its cooldown uptime. That is their perma. So if you don't get the pick on the torch, if he's able to just book it behind that corner and get to the LOS of his backline, he's going to be right back up to 100% and keeping you in spawn even longer.
Yeah, the worst case scenario is that you get the Luna Flake on there as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we're not going to see any scenarios where both the Luna and the Human Torch make it through. But you know what? I also thought we weren't going to see any one-sided Human Torch, so what do I know?
Yeah, I think definitely moving forward into tomorrow, one of the big adaptations that all of these teams are going to be making is, please, no one round where you touch the stove and figure out that Human Torch is still just as strong. He's got to go right away. You know what's crazy too? This is nerfed Human Torch.
Yeah, this is the nerfed Human Torch. I mean, he was permabanned for a long time, and that was also for a good reason. And then they nerfed him and like, now we can finally play Human Torch. So now he's really good. And turns out he's still really, really good. Yeah,
Johnny's a little bit of a hothead canonically, and I think as well, whenever we see him present in the patch notes, everyone's very quick to leap to judgment around him because the nerfs came through and for like a couple of days and I was like, oh yeah, no, he's garbage now, Human Torch is unplayable. And we gave it half a week and teams were like, wait a minute, nah, he's still just as strong.
Yeah, we have the same thing happen with Phoenix as well with the Wing Shurikens. Not Phoenix, Psylocke.
Psylocke, yeah.
And yeah, we were wrong. She was tales of her demise were
greatly exaggerated.
Yes.
It helps as well that she still has the team up with Emma Frost, where you can just absolutely melt one person in one go if you commit all of your cooldowns. So we can have a look and see all of these wonderful statistics coming out. Surprise, surprise. Terra coming on through with the heroes chunk of all of the damage done on the side of 100 Thieves. Pure damage spam uptime. And
29 final hits.
Yeah, 29. That's the highest amount of final hits that we've seen all day today.
I mean, is it higher than... No, it's not higher than the rest of his team combined. It's okay. It's close, though.
It's not quite the deadlift. But it's definitely, we're starting to need a spotter in terms of making sure that those weights are safe.
I mean, that's what happens when you just all move around protecting the solo duelist, right? Like, everyone is MVPing Terra right now. Just get the Ultra.
The main character.
Yeah, the protagonist, actually, for 100 Thieves.
This is what every duelist main wishes their team would do for them.
Yeah. Why aren't all 5 of these players pocketing me? Don't they know I'm the duelist? I'm important.
41% accuracy as well is crazy. And it also goes to show why 29 of those 43 KOs were coming through from Terra's end.
Okay, let's have a quick look through our replays here of our third and final map of the winners' semis. This does, of course, mean that 100 Thieves are going to be going up against Envious in the winners' final. Ground Zero are going to be going down to a lower bracket, I imagine, to play tomorrow as well. Terra, here's a quick look. Oh, that was a nasty tap right there. Oh, it's disgusting. He's rancid.
The catch as well on the Psylocke who was trying to dash up to challenge him. That was clean.
Fearless as well, body blocking a Strange on the on the opposing spawn side. Okay, it might just be a Terra Glaze stream now, I don't know.
Okay, so I feel like Terra heard us say that Speedily was the best Human Torch in the world, and he was like, hold my fire.
hold this flame tornado. Here's Harvey with a big edge Jeff as well. We've seen plenty of these today, usually on Central Park. And you know what? Every time we see Central Park come up, we're like, oh, this is a fantastic map for Flyers.
Yep.
So why is it always here that we see the Human Torch actually manage to make it through bans?
I know, right? One of the best maps for Flyers, and this is when the teams have the amnesia and forget about the Human Torch.
I don't know. So someone's got to control them. That was dirty as well. I'm personally disgusted. I will be filing a complaint.
You know what I'm not going to be complaining about, though? Getting to see that winners final, because that is going to be Speedily versus Terra. And I mean, there's no way, please. There's no way that Human Torch makes it through.
The Americas are going to be reigning supreme in the winners finals, that much is for sure. Both of EMEA's remaining seeds have been put down to the losers bracket, and Sentinels, they've already been sent home, unfortunately, today alongside Reject. So China's #1 seed remains in the bracket. We've had to say goodbye to 2 more teams, Marks. We're whittling them down.
Yep, slowly but surely, we're getting to see where the regions stack up against each other, where the metas stack up against each other. And I mean, we're seeing a whole lot of hero compositions coming through. Answer to what meta is the strongest is pretty much, it depends. Depends which map, depends what meta you're up against, depends what you get through bans. Everything is kind of viable.
Yeah, sometimes we just see a hero group. Sometimes it's Cloak and Dagger being the best. Sometimes it's a Loki being the one and only.
Sometimes it's Jeff.
Sometimes it's Jeff. It happens, you know? And honestly, it feels like 100 Thieves look a lot better than they did yesterday.
Yeah.
I figured that Ground Zero would be a much tougher opponent than Reject, who fell down to OUG today, but it seems like whatever scrims happened, whatever warm-up happened for 100 Thieves between yesterday and today, things have cleaned up a bit.
Yeah, I think like that's always going to happen though when you get to these LAN fights, right? If you start having some of a tougher series, you're either going to be able to knuckle down and improve immediately because of just the synergy that LAN allows you as a space where you get the opportunity to scrim as heavily as you do. A lot of these other teams are also wanting to practice so that they can fix some of the mistakes and issues that they had, which means that it is just a essential rotation of Marvel Rivals gameplay into more Marvel Rivals gameplay.
Yeah, now you can get plenty of fresh Marvel Rivals gameplay right now with Season 3.5, but before that, check out this interview down on the stage with Cozy.
Hello and welcome to our final POVS match interview. We just